And so now we understand how it is that you were able to get waved in to the White House to basically become a potted plant in the West Wing lobby. So most of your meetings at the White House were with Steve Bannon, or at least you were scheduled to meet with Steve Bannon, and then what would happen?
No, I was scheduled to meet with. I mean, I have had a lot of meetings with Steve, and Steve was one of the pillars of this book. But I basically met with everybody, and everybody was under the impression that they were supposed to meet with me.
Where did they get this impression from? Did that impression come from the president? Or did it, because you were talking to Steve Bannon, they figured, well, we should probably talk to him too?
It came from. I was introduced around by various people, by Hope Hicks, who was the president's kind of personal PR person. Kellyanne Conway, Sean Spicer. This was not a mystery here. Now, I think on one level, nobody quite knew how this came about, and everybody looked a little puzzled by things, but there was no friction here.
There was no
friction.
No friction.
Nobody was saying, "What are you doing here?" Everybody was saying, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Yeah, they would see you sitting. They would see you sitting in the West Wing lobby, like who you're waiting to see.
Yeah,
and then you would say Bannon, and they would chuckle and say, "Well, that's not going to happen," or "That'll be for a while. Why don't you come back and talk to me?"
I became a familiar presence around the White House, and I think also very much a non-threatening presence. I was not. The press corps was over there. Not far away, but I was always careful not to come in as a member of the press. And not to act like a member. The press is a sort of, they want something. I didn't want anything. I literally was just, I didn't even have,
Wait, come on, Michael. I didn't want anything. I'm just sitting in the West Wing lobby hoping to talk to all these folks.
This is totally true.
Come on, man.
I
Really?
just wanted someone to talk to me. I was like, and this is actually an important thing because you go in there, and it used to be, so it would be in, you'd get a 10 o'clock appointment, you'd go in, and then you would sit there, sometimes for hours, and sometimes hours and hours, and it was kind of humiliating, actually, and you had the feeling that people regarded me as a kind of a pitiable creature, I'm not important enough for anyone to keep their appointment with me. Everybody else is there, and they're having appointments, and their people come out, and I'm still just waiting there, and the hours are passing. And I did feel humiliated. I was really, but then it became this kind of thing that people, it began to work. People would stop, and they would try to take care of me and say,
like you're one of the neediest cases. Come on.
Yeah, you come back, talk to me, and the other thing, and this is an important thing, I basically didn't ask questions. So all reporters, what do? We ask questions. I don't ask questions. I go in and I sit there, and people just start to talk.
Okay, so one of the reasons why perhaps people start to talk from what you're saying is, and the key in that is what you said in terms of the initial part of your answer, where you mentioned Hope Hicks, who is the president's personal PR person. Now, when you read Fire and Fury, you find out that everybody in this book has his or her own PR person. Jared and Ivanka have their own PR person. Bannon ends up building up his own PR team. Is one of the reasons why all
the president. It's extraordinary. The president, who has a press secretary and
a whole communication shop.
Communication shop of 40 people, but he's conducting his own freelance operation.
So, maybe one of the reasons why people took pity on you as you sat there, as you say, humiliated in the West Wing lobby, they knew you were talking to Bannon. Is it that they realized, oh my God, he's talking to Bannon, I need to talk to him to find out what Bannon has said so I can counteract
that happened a little later on when they realized that Bannon was kind of monopolizing me. In the beginning, it was everybody was talking and confused about why they were talking, but they were talking. It had come on high from nobody actually knew from where it came, it seemed, but there was a general feeling that you were supposed to talk to me, I think.
Were people unburdening themselves? Did you feel
Yes.
like a therapist?
Well, eventually you did, and that's what I saw this book is really about, if there's a plot line, the transformation that took place is people in the beginning who were, Donald Trump, rah, rah, and, you got the Donald Trump line. And then that began to degrade. They began to give you the Trump line, but why they were giving it to you, they would go, and they'd go, and it became very clear that they wanted someone else to know that while they had to give this line, they didn't believe it. And then after moving even further on, then it fell apart entirely. And then they would tell you this is really a mess here.